German and Austrian Tzu Chi volunteers go to care for the residents affected by the century floods to understand their needs. Thailand Tzu Chi volunteers donate 50 beds and other necessities to a quarantine center, working with the governments to tide over this pandemic. 歡迎收睇DaAi Headlines， 我係 Ruby， 我哋一齊嚟睇下今日嘅內容。Germany and Belgium suffered once-a-century floods in mid-July, causing severe disaster in western Germany. In early August, German and Austrian Tzu Chi volunteers went to the hardest-hit areas to conduct disaster survey, hoping to work out an assistance plan as soon as possible.
Although more than half a month has passed since floods caused by climate change affected the hardest-hit areas of western Germany, early August, Tzu Chi volunteers from Europe formed a disaster survey team, taking 3 days to conduct surveys.
Ganz unterschiedlich. Wir haben Familien, die mit kleinen Kindern betroffen sind.
The affected households this time include families with children and refugee camps. They must be evacuated, and some hospitals that have been evacuated are currently unavailable. There are many people who must be rebuilt quickly, whether they are young or old, or are affected by the disaster.
Genutzt werden kann, aber viele Menschen, junge wie alte, sind betroffen.
Gut 150 Familien stark betroffen.
In Belgium alone, about 150 families have suffered heavy losses. The water is as high as 1 floor. That means all the houses are soaked in water. The walls must be demolished and the floor must be knocked out. Total losses exceeded tens of millions of euros.
Mehrere 10 Millionen Euro.
This flood is the biggest disaster in Germany since World War II. The disaster area is wide and economic loss is huge. At present, the relief materials from all over the country are still sufficient, but what is most needed by local governments are reconstruction funds.
The quantity of baby food we received is enough to supply a child in a big city for more than a year. However, we only have more than 3,700 residents, and I have always emphasized we need to be flexible. Cash can always be deployed in a very flexible manner.
Reichen, who lives in Blissheim, was originally full of joy when moving into a new home, but encountered floods before moving in. The newly purchased furniture and kitchen equipment were all soaked, and the loss might be nearly 100,000 euros.
When we came here, there was a lot of oil in the water. It looked terrible. We also had to lock down the wall on the first floor from the ground to 1.2 meters high, remove the ground to the state before the renovation. We estimate that the entire reconstruction will take 9 months.
On the first day of the disaster survey, the volunteers mainly visited local governments and listened to disaster briefings. After that, they assessed the disaster situation and needs of local people and will work out an assistance plan as soon as possible.
A fire broke out in a residential house in Houli District, Taichung City recently. The house was completely burnt out and the owner was hospitalized because of smoke choking. So the volunteers went there to care for the house condition and provide follow-up care to the owner. A residential house caught fire, causing thick smoke went up the sky. The situation was very critical, yet the fire truck could not enter the narrow alley and could only be connected to the water line to extinguish the fire.
The fire truck can only stay on the main road. I told the firefighters that our lanes are very narrow. It's better for them to come with scooters.
In this alley on Sanfeng Road, Houli District, Taichung City, a residential fire broke out in the morning of the 7th of August. The fire was extinguished in about 20 minutes, and the 2-story building was almost completely burned out. The house owner, Mr. Zhou, who lived alone in his 40s, was shocked and admitted to hospital. Tzu Chi volunteers came to care about his house condition.
His work is currently suspended due to the pandemic. We will take over the follow-up care from the social workers of the hospital.
This fire site is located near the home of Olympic judo silver medal winner Yang Yongwei. Most of the houses are old and densely built. The alleys can only allow one-lane traffic of small cars. Recently, the city government has stated that the road will be replanted to facilitate accident rescue, yet the fire happened before that.
To make a road construction so that we can be linked together, it also facilitates rescue.
Last week, a series of factory fires that were suspected to arise from lighting occurred in the Houli area. Together with this fire in a narrow alley, the firefighters were under great pressure. The volunteers sent a package of gifts to the fire brigade to thank the firefighters for their hard work. In Taichung, there is an amazing father called Zhang Sigui, who is also a Tzu volunteer. His youngest son has been paralyzed because of a car accident. Zhang forgave the offending driver and takes care of his son wholeheartedly. Although he is old with gray hair, he faced impermanence optimistically.
爸爸带你去散步哈，拜拜，拜拜，拜拜，
啊，这一部你还记得吗？啊，你还记得吗？你最喜欢开的啊？这是我们家的周围，你还记得吗？警察打电话来。
The police called me after confirming my ID. They told me that my child was in Chengqing Hospital's ER and I must hurry to go there. Then I saw there were tubes all over his body. There were mainly 3 tubes with blood flowing inside. I held his hand and told him, Zhenming, this is Dad. You need to calm down first. Think before you make a decision. Whether you want to stay or you have your next mission, it is all right. As long as you make a decision, I will accept the outcome and deliver my best wishes to you. Then miraculously, he calmed down.
Ah, 我们今天绕1000就好了哦哈，因为今天的空气品质不好，整个灰蒙蒙的。
他完全就是没有去怪对方，就。
He did not blame the other person and he was very calm. He knew that the other person was also afraid. He did not do it on purpose. No one will hit my son on purpose. That is the law of cause and effect. However, I am unable to do this. I cannot do that.
可是我做不到，我当然做不到啊。
看施工开始哦，哈，会不会热？上人曾经讲过，就是说，摸摸看，顺境的时候要无常观哦。
Master said that when things are going our way, we must understand the concept of impermanence. When we face hardships, we must realize the law of cause and effect. Why did this accident happen to him? Why am I involved in this? We do not know when we form the affinities. Of course, this is a negative affinity. We have formed a negative affinity. Now that the accident has happened, you must face it willingly. You must face the fact. Then I told the person who hit my son, it is regrettable we got to know each other this way. However, since the accident has happened, no matter what we say, my son cannot recover to his original conditions. We need to face it and find ways to help him get through the difficulties. He has agreed to this.
所以他也很认同。
我觉得我那个时候可能有忧郁了，因为太。
I think back then I might be suffering from depression. I was too sad. Back then I could not hold back my tears. It was like running water that could not be stopped. Back then I could not fall asleep, so I got up to do some drawing. I think drawing can help me calm my mind. During that short period of time, you'll forget about your worries and let go of everything.
忘记外面的烦恼，忘记所有的一切。
不能一直局限在这里，那你的情绪会没有办法显示。
You cannot limit yourself here, as you cannot let go of your negative emotions. If you go and volunteer and come into contact with a lot of people, you might feel happier, and you can let go of your pressure. After interacting with the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters, you will feel more relaxed.
师姐他们这样子，大家互动回来哈，会觉得说，哦，有放松啊。那之前是因为说他。
In the past, he had a lot of physical problems, and he was anxious, so it was inconvenient to take him to places. I hope that I can have more opportunities to take him outside and interact with people. Whenever he comes out for a walk, he will feel happier.
This year marks Tzu Chi's 55th year, and the Northern California chapter is hosting a performance to honor this occasion. Some volunteers had a rehearsal at the Tzu Chi grounds, while some stayed at home to practice their parts. Everyone worked together in hopes of presenting the best performance during the 7th lunar month. Let's join them there.
Volunteers line up to disinfect their hands as this is the first time since the reopening that so many volunteers have entered the chapter grounds. They are here to rehearse for the Lotus Sutra adaptation to pray for the world. Besides the sign language performance, an additional dance and play was incorporated with professional directors for the part.
I wanted to incorporate the image of Tzu Chi that people have when I was choreographing this dance. I tried to do my best in representing the hard work of Tzu Chi, while making sure that Tzu Chi's hope is also present.
Hector Chen was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 2 years ago and is now needing the use of a cane to get around, but he no longer wants to miss his opportunity to participate in the Sutra adaptation.
I've been wanting to join the adaptation for 3 years now, and I've declined so many times. This time, I'm seizing my opportunity to do so. I don't have a reason not to anymore.
The same spirit of pushing through the pain of an illness is Joy Chow, who has cancer. She's here with her daughter, and the participation is their chicken soup for the soul.
I'm in good spirits when I'm here. My physical body is tired, but I feel good inside. The first time I came, I felt that way, and I got through rehearsals without problems, so I came back the next time, and now here I am.
The volunteers from Northern California continue to rehearse their parts in the Sutra adaptation in hopes of finding spiritual support during this pandemic.
The pandemic in Thailand continues as medical manpower and resources are running low. In Bangprop Township, a quarantine center needed 50 beds. Tzu Chi volunteers donated the needed bed frames and other necessities to battle this pandemic together.
Students are remote learning due to the pandemic and the school campus is empty. The gymnasium has been asked to become a quarantine center for COVID patients as the virus continues to hit the country.
Many factories in Bampaying district are still operating, so when workers go to work, they're at risk of catching the virus and passing it on to their family at home. This is our situation right now.
Using a large metal divider, the quarantine center is separated from the school campus. The center is also sectioned off into living quarters and activity areas. To assist, Tzu Chi has provided 50 beds.
Government facilities do not have space for them, so they're just at home recovering. This is why the city needs a temporary quarantine center and are in desperate need of beds.
Besides the bed frames, volunteers also donated bed sheets, blankets, and other necessities. Before the opening of the center, the mayor came by to thank the volunteers.
Thank you for your support. It is of utmost importance right now to protect the lives of people.
Gathering love from all corners, Tzu Chi is working with the government to face this difficult time together.
The pandemic in Indonesia has led the government to expand vaccine coverage. It commissioned village officers in various regions to cooperate with NGOs to set up vaccination stations. Tzu Chi is one of them to provide assistance.
In the square in front of the village office, Tzu Chi volunteers set up a vaccination station, recruited medical teams from a local health center to facilitate vaccinations for nearby residents.
We hope that more Indonesian people will come to get vaccinated to increase the vaccine coverage. The vaccination procedures are much more convenient now. It's not like pre-registering before, as you now only need to bring your ID to the vaccination station to get a shot.
The pandemic in Indonesia is spreading, and the government hopes to expand vaccine coverage, recruit NGOs to cooperate with local government to set up fast delivery vaccine stations. Many residents were unable to get the vaccine before, but now they can easily do so.
Before, I went to a nearby health center to sign up for a vaccination. But after seeing a lot of people line up there, I didn't dare enter.
Outside of metropolitan areas with large populations, it is necessary to speed up the delivery of vaccines. In Medan, the capital of North Sumatra, military personnel also assist. This vaccination station is located in the school auditorium to increase social distancing, reduce the risk of cluster infection.
Our vaccination station is expected to serve 1,500 people in one day, and we will be here for 3 days as we hope to vaccinate 5,000 people.
I think this vaccination station is quite good. Compared to the place I used to go, it's much more comfortable and orderly here. It's not like before there were no rules or regulations. As a result, many people couldn't get the vaccine.
When many people step out of the vaccination station, volunteers gave them some rice to those in need. Tzu Chi volunteers support everyone battling the COVID-19 pandemic.
Tzu Chi also cooperated with the Malaysian government in the national vaccination program. Sabah Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized to help in 3 vaccination stations, helping the government speed up the rate of vaccination.
City volunteers explain work procedures in detail as they are here to assist the vaccination station.
KDCA is a very public, broad place. They told us that every day 800 vaccinations can be given. From July 1st, we sent 10 to 12 volunteers here every day.
We set up different routes, separately for people with the first dose or second dose of vaccination. Between Tzu Chi sisters and medical workers, there will be presentations for us to share what we do. We also have a good relationship with medical workers, therefore we work well as a team.
On this day, most of the people here are seniors, as volunteers assisted medical workers, hoping to speed up the rate of vaccination.
Seniors have poor sight. Some cannot even write, so we will fill in their forms. We also talk to them because some told us that they are cold and afraid. Therefore, we must comfort them.
Tzu Chi volunteers did a great job. They helped us solve a lot of issues and gave us plenty of advice.
It's great. You have helped a lot of people. It's very organized.
As of now, Sabah's vaccination coverage is low. The government hopes to speed up the rate of vaccinations in order to reach nationwide herd immunity.
As the pandemic in Malaysia is still severe, major hospitals in various states are short of medical resources. Tzu Chi volunteers donated the needed medical supplies to support the frontline medical staff.
The truck loaded with medical equipment drove to the stadium Melawadi, hoping to relieve the shortage of the medical equipment.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 in the front row.
Last month to this month, it just gone crazy. The cases have increased so much tremendously to up to 3,000 plus. To tell you the truth, all the frontliners in my whole team, we are all actually very tired out, and we are glad that there are people who are actually willing to help us and give us support by not only in manpower but also in equipment. These others are very, very important for us.
Volunteers not only send medical equipment but also people's encouragement.
And there is an apple.
What does that mean?
Apple in Mandarin means 苹果, 平平安安.
Oh, okay.
Means all the frontliner 平平安安. 这里的医生.
The doctors here are basically exhausted physically and mentally, so we try to give them some encouragement. And the children thought that they might be able to draw some pictures for them.
The hospital Takujava, Sawambang, also face a shortage of the medical equipment. Tzu Chi has collected the love of the community and donated the medical equipment 3 times.
Thank you to the Foundation for assisting our hospital. Patients currently forced to use temporary beds can be placed in proper beds and have a good rest. We hope that this donation can really help our hospital and Nigerian civilians to get through the pandemic. The current situation in the hospital is still within control, but we still have to be prepared in advance to face emergencies at any time.
The fight against the pandemic is difficult, and the people need to work together to overcome the difficulties.
In Tzu Chi's Global 4-in-1 camp, Malaysia's volunteers from Selangor and Kuala Lumpur, as well as Johor Bahru, joined in the class. No matter where they were, at workplace or at home, all of them hope to understand Tzu Chi's spirit more.
Unable to meet in person, over 3,171 people from the Selangor and Kuala Lumpur Tzu Chi chapter participated in the global 4-in-1 camp for team leaders using video conferencing technology.
Don't want to miss the class. 4-in-1 very seldom, once a year only. But African one, the stories are very amazing. They are very poor, in their life and all that, but they help each other.
There's not enough people staffed today, so I had to work. But I also wanted to listen in on the classes. I can do both. When my hands are working, my heart and mind can multitask and gain wisdom.
The Global 4-in-1 Camp for Team Leaders covers a wide variety of topics, from charity, medical, as well as environmental concerns. Volunteers mobilize as one, united in their missions.
Under the pandemic terms, all the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters mobilized to help with compassion. Their actions are moving, as they not only provide material aid for daily living, but also relieve the emotional stress of the medical staff and patients.
Meanwhile, the movement control order has not been lifted in Johor Bahru. Thus, they all tune in from home.
When obstacles arise, we should take the experience and learn from it. Only then can we overcome ourselves and heal. We need to get rid of negative energy and only form positive thinking.
I'm so thankful that I can participate in the camp this year, and it has helped me to find my initial aspiration that I lost. The Master is so kind to still think of all her disciples right now. Thus, as followers of the Master, we must vow to take in the wisdom and learn from it. During the chaotic times, we must be firm in our convictions and not lose our way.
This first-time participant has vowed to go vegetarian to help bring more charitable acts to society.
Being vegan is really something we can do for ourselves. And the other thing is not to eat meals where we will gain more karmic doubt.
With these vows of keeping to a vegan diet, it is hoped that the pandemic eases soon, and that traveling to the Jingse abode is possible once more.
The heavy rain these days caused the only road to a mountainous village in Pindong to collapse. Villagers have to climb down a 2-story cliff to carry supplies. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and see you next time.